The moon of Verakai was a lonely place, covered in cold dust and scattered ruins from older wars. At the edge of this quiet landscape stood a small refugee outpost, made of metal containers and patched-up structures. Solar panels buzzed on the roofs, and a thin wind moved sand in soft waves across the ground. Most days, nothing happened there except routine checks and quiet conversations. But today, something had gone wrong. Saraith, a young mother of the Vayari species, held her newborn child close to her chest, trying everything she could think of to make him stop crying. Vayari babies rarely cried at all. Their bodies were partly crystalline, and their emotions usually traveled as soft pulses of light through their skin. Crying was different. It meant fear. It meant something was wrong. And when Vayari infants cried, their sound was not like any ordinary sound. It vibrated through the walls, into the ground, and even into the wiring of the machines around them. Her baby's cry was sharp and bright, like a tone stretching into the air and shaking everything it touched. Metallic panels on the ceiling buzzed. A lantern flickered, then died. A container of tools on the counter rattled until it fell over. Saraith's hands trembled as she tried to calm him, but her efforts only made the baby cry harder. His small, glass-like lungs expanded with each breath, glowing lines running along his skin. Several other refugees covered their ears and backed away in confusion. Some were afraid. A few muttered to each other, worried the sound might attract someone or something that none of them wanted near. Saraith rocked the child back and forth, whispering softly in her own language, her silver eyes dim with fear. She was exhausted. The baby had been crying for nearly half an hour, and she had tried every comfort she knew. Warmth, soft light, gentle touch, quiet humming. Nothing worked. The baby was terrified of something she could not see or understand. Then the door slid open with a sudden hiss, and a tall human soldier stepped inside. Sergeant Marcus Hale paused in the doorway for a moment, taking in the scene. His armor was dusty from patrol, and a helmet hung loosely from one hand. He was used to strange situations on the frontier, but he had never seen a room shaking because of a baby's cry. His brown eyes focused on Saraith and her child, and he walked forward in a calm, steady way, as if not at all bothered by the chaotic noise. Saraith looked up at him in confusion and fear. She had met humans before, but only briefly. They were strange to her, soft-skinned, extremely adaptable, and famous for their unpredictable behavior. Some Valari believed humans were dangerous because they rushed into problems without thinking. Others believed they had a kind of strength no other species had. Saraith did not know which to believe. Marcus crouched beside her, lowering himself to her level so she would not feel threatened. "May I help?" he asked gently. His voice was steady despite the high-pitched sound filling the room. Saraith hesitated. "He will hurt you," she warned quietly. "The vibrations are too strong. They can damage human ears." Marcus gave a small smile. "I've dealt with worse on the firing range. It's all right." He slowly reached into a pouch on his belt and took out a small device, an old, portable scanner he often used to check malfunctioning equipment. "May I take a look at him?" "I won't touch him, unless you say so." She nodded weakly. She was desperate. She had no idea why her child was crying so hard, and the fear that raiders might hear the vibrations strangled her thoughts. If anyone tracked the sound, the outpost would be in danger. She could see Marcus understood that too. Marcus turned on the scanner. The device hummed, then displayed flickering shapes. The Valari baby's energy patterns were chaotic, unstable, jumping in strange waves. Marcus didn't know much about Valari biology, but he knew what panic looked like. The baby's cries shook the metal table beside them, making the edges vibrate. Marcus adjusted the scanner, studying the pulse patterns. "He's scared," he said quietly. "Not sick, not injured, just scared." Saraith closed her eyes for a moment, relief mixing with confusion. But why? There is nothing dangerous here. Marcus scanned the room. The lights flickered again, reacting to the baby's pulses. He tapped the scanner and frowned. These patterns, they look like interference. Something is disturbing his natural rhythm. She blinked at him. Marcus shrugged. I've worked with energy systems for years. Sometimes a broken power line shakes the whole grid. The trick is finding what the line is reacting to. The baby's cries rose again, and the windows vibrated so hard, the frames groaned. Marcus moved closer, trying to study the rhythm. Then he slowly extended his hand not to touch the baby, but to let the baby sense him. Sarith tensed. Human heartbeat is too strong. Marcus kept his hand close but gentle. Maybe he needs something strong right now. Marcus kept his hand. Over. Marcus kept his hand close but gentle. The baby's glowing eyes flickered as he noticed the new presence. His cries shifted slightly, the vibrations becoming less chaotic. Marcus watched the pattern and lowered his voice. It's all right, little guy. I'm not here to hurt you. Sarith stared. Humans were not supposed to interact well with Valari infants. Their energy patterns did not match. Yet her child's cries softened just a bit, like he was trying to match the slow, steady beat he sensed from Marcus. Marcus saw it too. He's syncing with me. Not fully, but enough. Sarith felt a flicker of hope. Humans can do that? Marcus chuckled. Humans can do a lot of strange things. Most of us don't even know how. I won, our men, but the moment of calm disappeared as the ground beneath them gave a soft, distant rumble. Marcus's expression changed instantly. He stood up fast and rushed to a console near the wall. That wasn't the baby, he muttered. He pressed a button, and a small scanner on the console activated. The readings showed faint movement far beyond the outpost movement that was getting closer. Sarith's breath caught. No. Marcus didn't turn around. I'm sorry. I think someone heard the cry. She hugged her baby tightly, fear sharp in her chest. Valari infants produced vibrations that could travel far across terrain, and raider clans often listened for them. A Vayari child was rare and valuable to them. Too valuable. Marcus switched off the console and walked back to her quickly. We need to calm him before they get closer. If he keeps crying like this, they'll pinpoint us exactly. Sarith nodded, her whole body trembling. I don't know how. Marcus sat beside her again. Let's try something else. He motioned gently. May I hold him? Only if you trust me. She froze. The idea was frightening. Valari babies were fragile, and their energy fields reacted strongly to touch. But the raiders were coming. Her baby's cries were growing again, rising in sharp waves that made her chest ache. She had no other options. Her hands shook as she slowly passed the baby to Marcus. He took the child carefully, holding him close enough for warmth but not tight enough to disturb the glowing plates in his skin. The baby cried loudly at first, making Marcus's armor vibrate. But instead of pulling away, Marcus breathed slowly, deep, steady breaths, and let the baby feel his heartbeat through the armor. Humans had strong, rhythmic pulses that could act like anchors. Come on, Marcus whispered. Listen to me. It's okay. Sarith watched with wide eyes as the baby's cry began to change. The vibrations softened, then steadied, then slowly began to match Marcus's breathing. The glow on the child's skin calmed from frantic flickers to slow, gentle pulses. The room stopped shaking. Sarith covered her mouth, overwhelmed by relief. Marcus didn't look away from the baby. Humans have a strange way of calming scared beings. Doesn't matter the species. Sometimes all you need is a heartbeat. For the first time since the crying began, the baby rested quietly, curled against Marcus's chest. His eyes glowed softly, no longer wild with fear. but the danger outside was still real. Marcus's voice grew serious again. "Seraith, the raiders are on the way. We need to move. We need to warn the others." She stood up slowly, strength returning to her legs. "What do we do?" Marcus looked toward the door, holding the now calm child carefully in one arm. "We prepare. And we protect him. No matter what." The outpost lights flickered again, not from the baby this time but from approaching engines far in the distance. The quiet peace of Verakai was gone. Something dangerous was coming. And everything had changed the moment a human soldier walked toward a crying infant. The sound of distant engines grew louder, a soft humming at first, then a low vibration that trembled through the thin walls of the outpost. Marcus felt the floor shake beneath his boots as he carried the now quiet Valari baby in his arms. Seraith walked close beside him, her eyes wide and frightened, though she tried to hide it. Every few seconds she looked at her child, unable to believe that the crying had finally stopped. Outside, the wind picked up, blowing dust in swirling clouds across the barren ground. The sky above was a pale gray, with two faint suns setting behind the rocky hills. The outpost, usually peaceful and almost forgotten by the rest of the galaxy, now felt small and vulnerable as the threat closed in from the horizon. Marcus pushed open the main door and stepped into the open courtyard. Several refugees were already gathering, whispering in nervous voices. A pair of guards checked their weapons, though their hands shook slightly. They had expected another quiet evening. Instead, they were facing the possibility of a raider attack. One of the guards, a short man named Riven, spotted Marcus. "Sergeant." Sensor picked up movement. Fast. Too fast for wandering animals. "I know," Marcus said. They heard the cry. The refugees muttered anxiously. Seraith held her arms close to her body, her silver skin faintly glowing with worry. She felt exposed, standing out in the open like this. The baby's soft glow pulsed against Marcus's chest, steady and calm for now. But she knew it would not take much to disturb him again. Marcus walked toward the center of the courtyard. "Listen," he said loudly, and everyone fell silent. "We don't know how many raiders are coming, but they're close enough that we need to be ready. Get inside the shelters and stay quiet." A young mechanic nodded quickly. "What about you? You're staying out?" Marcus adjusted his grip on the baby. "I'll buy us time." Seraith stepped forward, her voice soft but firm. "I will stay too." Marcus looked at her. "It's safer inside." She shook her head. "He is my child. I cannot leave him." Marcus didn't argue. He simply nodded, respecting her decision. Humans were known for their adaptability, but the Valari were known for fierce loyalty. Even in fear, Seraith would not run. The refugees hurried into the shelters, locking the doors behind them. Marcus motioned for Seraith to follow him toward the main guard tower. They climbed the metal stairs quickly, reaching the small balcony at the top. From here, they could see the full stretch of land beyond the outpost. And there, moving across the pale sand in fast, arrow-shaped formations, were 6 dark raider craft. Their engines glowed bright orange, cutting through the landscape like streaks of fire. Seraith felt her chest tighten. "They are coming straight toward us." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "Yeah, they know exactly where to go." He glanced down at the baby. The child was still calm, feeling safe with the steady rhythm of the human heartbeat. But Marcus knew that peace could easily break the moment fear returned. They had only minutes before the raiders reached the outpost. "We need a plan," Marcus said quietly. "And fast." Seraith looked toward the weapons console inside the tower. "We have 2 defense cannons here." Marcus shook his head. "Those cannons won't stop all 6 craft. They'll get through. But we must do something." Marcus looked at the baby again, then back at the incoming craft. "There might be one thing." "One thing." Seraith turned to him in confusion. "What do you mean?" He reacted to my heartbeat. My rhythm calmed him. Marcus took a slow breath. But earlier, when he was scared, the vibrations were strong enough to shake the outpost. Seraith's eyes widened as she understood. You want him to cry again? No, Marcus said firmly. Not the same way. I want him to focus his energy. Not chaotic. Controlled. Seraith stared at him. But he is only an infant. He cannot control anything. No, Marcus agreed. But I can help him. Just like before. The idea sounded impossible, but Seraith saw a strange confidence in Marcus's eyes. Humans had a reputation for doing things that made no sense at first. Yet, somehow worked. She swallowed hard and nodded. How? Marcus took a breath. I need to be close enough for him to feel me. If I can keep him calm, while also letting him sense the danger, maybe his energy will react differently. It might create a barrier or shockwave that pushes the raiders back. Seraith hesitated. And if it goes wrong? Then I'll keep holding him, Marcus said. I won't let anything happen to him. Seraith believed him. She didn't know why, but she did. The raider craft were approaching fast now, kicking up spirals of dust as they flew lower. Marcus ran down the stairs with Seraith close behind. They moved toward the open ground outside the outpost, stopping near a long metal pole where a signal flag had once hung. The wind blew stronger here, carrying the scent of dust and machine oil. The baby shifted slightly, sensing the tension in the air. His glow flickered. Seraith touched his cheek gently. It is all right, she whispered, though her hands trembled. We are with you. Marcus took a slow breath, letting his heartbeat settle into a steady rhythm. He held the baby close against his chest, placing one hand behind the small crystalline lungs. The infant's eyes opened, round and bright, reflecting the fading sky. Stay with me, little guy, Marcus murmured. You're safe. The raider craft spread out, forming a half circle as they slowed down. Dust swirled around them as they hovered, preparing to land or attack. Their engines roared like thunder in the open air. Seraith stepped closer to Marcus. They will not stop. They want him. See. Marcus didn't look away from the craft. Then, we make sure they can't get him. As the raiders drew near, the baby began to tremble. His glow brightened, pulsing faster. The vibrations grew, faint at first, then stronger. The ground beneath them hummed lightly. Seraith reached out to steady him, but Marcus shook his head gently. Let him feel it, Marcus whispered. But don't let him be scared. He closed his eyes and breathed deeply, letting the baby sense his rhythm. The vibrations began to match Marcus's heartbeat again, rising and falling in slow, powerful waves. The closest raider craft fired a warning shot. A pulse of light struck the sand several meters away, sending dust flying. Seraith flinched. The baby cried out, not loudly, but enough to send a sharp tremor through the air. Easy, Marcus whispered. Stay with me. You're okay. Okay. The raiders moved closer, ready to sweep in. Then, suddenly, the baby's glow shifted. It brightened into a soft blue. Steady, not frantic. Marcus felt the change before he saw it. The rhythm of the baby's energy aligned with his heartbeat, forming a stable pattern. The air tightened. A deep vibration spread outward in a perfect ring, calm but powerful. The sound wasn't loud. It was smooth, almost gentle. But when it reached the raider craft, the machines jerked violently in midair. The engines sputtered. Lights flickered. Several craft tilted sideways, struggling to stay balanced as the vibration passed through their systems. Seraith gasped. It's working. Marcus kept his voice low. Hold on. Just a little more. The baby blinked slowly, breathing in the same rhythm as Marcus. Another wave pulsed outward, stronger this time. The ground vibrated. The raider craft were thrown backwards several meters, metal groaning in protest. One craft's engine shut down completely, sending it crashing into the sand. Another spun in the air, before regaining control and retreating quickly. The raiders panicked, not understanding what was happening. A third wave pulsed, gentle, steady, controlled. The remaining raider craft wobbled and then turned sharply, flying away as fast as they could. Within seconds, the sky cleared of them. Only the sound of the wind remained. Marcus let out a slow breath, opening his eyes. The baby rested quietly against him, calm again, his glow soft and peaceful. Sarith stared in stunned silence. "He did it," she whispered. "You helped him do it." Marcus nodded slowly. "He's strong. Stronger than anyone thought. Maybe really Runji." End quote. Sarith touched her child's hand gently. "He is alive. Because of you." Marcus shook his head. "He's alive because he's incredible." They stood there in the fading light. The danger gone for now. The outpost safe because of a newborn child and a human soldier who had refused to give up. Sarith looked at Marcus with a new understanding. "Humans. You truly are different." Marcus gave a tired smile. "We try." The baby sighed softly, as if agreeing. And somewhere far in the distance, the stars of Verakai began to appear quiet, calm, and watching over them. Night settled over Verakai slowly, turning the pale ground into shades of silver and blue. The outpost lights flickered back on as the power system stabilized. People began leaving their shelters, looking around with confused relief. They had heard the vibrations, felt the ground move, and waited for an attack that never came. Instead, they found the outpost calm, untouched, and their defenders standing quietly in the open field. Marcus still held the Valarai infant against his chest, and Sarith stood close beside him. The baby was peaceful again, glowing faintly with slow, steady pulses. The danger had passed, but the air still carried tension, like everyone was waiting to be sure it was truly over. Riven, the guard from earlier, ran toward Marcus. "Sergeant! We saw the raiders turning around. What did you do?" Marcus shook his head. "Not me. The kid." Riven stared at the baby, shocked. Sarith lifted her chin slightly. "He is Vyari. Our children are rare, but their energy is strong." Another refugee approached a middle-aged woman with a gentle face. She bowed her head respectfully to Sarith. "We heard the vibrations, but they were calm, like waves." "What happened?" Marcus answered. "He reacted to danger, but not with fear this time. He used his power in a steady way." The woman stared at the child with awe. "Then we are safe because of him." Sarith looked down at her child, pride and relief mixing in her eyes. "Yes, but he is only a newborn. He cannot control his strength alone." Marcus handed the baby carefully back to her. The child settled instantly against his mother, sensing her familiar rhythm. His glow brightened softly. Riven scratched his head. "If the raiders come back with more craft, we won't stand a chance." Marcus nodded. "We need to be ready for that. But something tells me they won't be rushing back after what they just saw." Sarith held her child closer. "They will fear what they do not understand." The refugees murmured among themselves, slowly relaxing as the realization sank in. They were safe, at least for now. The sky above shimmered with stars, and the wind carried away the last traces of the raiders' presence. Marcus leaned against a metal railing, finally letting his muscles relax. He felt tired, but in a peaceful way. Sarith stood next to him, rocking her child gently. After a long moment, she spoke softly. "You were brave. Flew. Marcus smiled faintly. "He was brave. I just helped." "No," Sarith said, shaking her head. "You walked toward him when everyone else stepped away. You calmed him when even I could not. You risked yourself without hesitation. Marcus looked down, feeling a little embarrassed. It just felt like the right thing to do. That is what makes it special, she replied. They stood quietly as the night deepened. The cold wind brushed against them, but the calm atmosphere felt comforting. The baby let out a tiny sigh, glowing softly like a piece of living starlight in Saraith's arms. Eventually, Marcus said, "We need to check the outpost systems. The vibrations earlier damaged some wiring, and we should send a message to command. We. Saraith nodded. I will go with you. I will go with you. You should rest, Marcus said. You've been through a lot. Saraith shook her head. I will rest when he is safe. Until then, I stay with him. Marcus respected her decision. Together, they walked toward the main building, passing by refugees who whispered gratitude as they went. Inside, the control room smelled faintly of burnt metal. A few circuits had overheated from the earlier pulses. Marcus grabbed a toolkit and knelt beside an open panel, examining the tangled mess of wires. Saraith stood nearby, swaying gently with her child. You really fixed all this by yourself before? She asked. Marcus shrugged. Mostly. Frontier systems are old. You learn to repair things, or you live without them. Saraith watched him work for a moment. Humans are different. I always thought your species relied too much on instinct. But now, I see it as something else. Marcus paused, glancing up at her. Something else? You feel things strongly. Saraith said softly. Fear, hope, anger, kindness. You act quickly, because your emotions move you. And sometimes, that makes you wise. Marcus laughed quietly. I don't think anyone ever called me wise before. But I do, she said. Marcus tightened a bolt and stood, wiping dust from his gloves. He checked the control screen. The sensors were working again, scanning the horizon for movement. Everything was quiet. He sent a message to command, describing the raider approach and how they retreated without engaging. He left out the infant's ability. He didn't want outsiders to see the child as a weapon. When he finished, he walked back to Saraith. Saraith nodded, her shoulders relaxing a little. Thank you. Marcus leaned on the console beside her. What about you? What will you do now? She looked down at her child. I do not know. The Valari worlds are far. Our people are scattered. I came here for safety, but now I am not sure where we belong. Marcus understood that feeling more than she expected. You'll figure it out. You're stronger than you think. Saraith studied him quietly. And what about you? Marcus blinked. Me? Yes. Why are you here, Marcus Hale? A human soldier, on a lonely moon in the middle of nowhere. What brought you so far from home? Marcus hesitated. It wasn't a question he answered often. I guess I wanted to help people who didn't have anyone else. Places like this usually get forgotten. Saraith nodded slowly. You came to protect strangers. Someone has to. Marcus said simply. A soft warmth filled her gaze. Then I am glad you were the one who came. Before Marcus could reply, a small sound broke the silence, an adorable, tiny yawn. The baby blinked sleepily, his glow dimming as he drifted toward rest. Saraith smiled and gently stroked his cheek. Marcus couldn't help smiling too. He's a tough little guy. He is, Saraith agreed proudly, and he trusts you. Marcus looked surprised. Me? Yes, she said. He senses hearts. Not minds, not strength. Hearts. That is how Vayari infants understand the world. Marcus's chest tightened a little. Then I'm honored. Saraith stepped closer, her voice soft. We both are. A peaceful silence settled between them. The control room lights cast a warm glow over the three of them, mother, child, and soldier, standing together after a day that should have destroyed them, yet somehow made them stronger. Outside, the wind grew calmer. The night sky shimmered with stars that seemed brighter than usual. The outpost felt safer now, not because the danger was gone, but because something new had begun. Marcus finally said, "Whatever happens next, you're not alone. I'll look out for both of you." Sarith met his eyes, her expression filled with gratitude. "And we will look out for you. And we will look out for you." The baby shifted in her arms, glowing faintly, as if understanding the promise being made. Marcus didn't know what the future held for him, for Sarith, or for the newborn child whose power had saved them all. But he knew one thing clearly. He wasn't just protecting strangers anymore. He was protecting people who mattered. The outpost lights dimmed softly, leaving the quiet hum of power systems and the peaceful breathing of the Valerie infant. And under the silent sky of Verakai, a new bond formed, one built not on fear or duty, but on trust, courage, and the simple rhythm of a human heartbeat.